does that releases endorphins, lightens the room, gives you energy. It's just like drinking a cup of coffee. So we're ready to roll now. Okay. Today we've got some really talented people here. I've caught the glimpse of some of their stuff, and it is absolutely amazing. Today's session is loaded with video, and I'll tell you what, there's Emmys, Tellys, and you name it. And there's the NTOA GPA Awards. They're up for numerous ones this year. So we've got a great, talented group here. So I'm going to quickly go through some of the people that we have. We have Susan Apodaca, and she's the Content Service Manager for the City and County of Denver, Marketing and Media Services. I do not know how you fit that on a business card. And then Nick Gibson, he's with the City of Garland, Texas. He's a video producer. He does a lot of short docs, PSAs, and promos that he specializes in. And then Karen Tolson, she's the Director of Television Programming for the DC Office of Cable Television, Film, Music, and Entertainment. Very small font on a business card also. And then Pedro Hernandez, City of Garland. He's the motion designer and video producer for the City of Garland, Texas. And I guarantee after today's videos, you're going to say, wow. So let's start out with Susan Apodaca.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Oops. Stop. This clicker is tempting. There we go. I was thrilled. Then I thought, you all don't know me at all. The last time I made chicken dinner, the fire department came to visit. Rolling Hot, Denver's NTOA award-winning reality TV show with 428,000 viewers on YouTube. Yeah, 3 episodes equal 428,000 episodes. A great example of how planning ahead sometimes just doesn't work for you as you thought it would.
Everybody all right?
Yeah.
You guys all right?
All right,
Yeah,
I'm back.
good.
You good?
Searching that way.
And then I heard Mikey, and I look up, and it just flashes right in front of me. And I'm restrained. I'm trying to brace myself. And so it was a full-on impact. That truck just, boom, it cleared the front and hit that light post. And that's when I'm like, right away, checking everybody's all right.
We shoot with Panasonic's 255s, 300s, DSLR cams, the camera operator's embedded with the firehouse, and now the producer has to determine to bring the middle and the end together and still capture our viewers with the intended platform.
This is why you yield to emergency vehicles.
Guys okay?
Yeah. We're good. Dude, you know what gets me? What if that had been somebody crossing the street? Yeah. On foot?
You know, my concern is always, okay, do we do it?
Station mates are okay. The engine crew heads back to Station 26 on a special mission.
Never delay eating. Never delay eating or going to the bathroom.
Yep.
Ever.
Wait
Even
for it.
think you're gonna have to go.
Vital.
This show hooked the audience in the first 30 seconds. It is why this video is viewed over and over and over again. The original reality TV show is Denver. It's our city council. We start the show with an open explaining the bills up for consideration, and then, oh yeah, the fun begins. Where else can you hear one council member say to another, I'm sorry,
takes a different direction
but I can
from
read
the
also.
Process, the steering committee process and the 5 meetings and the vetting process.
We shoot with
that,
4 PTZ
we arrived at the
Panasonics.
3 and 2 stories
They're
as opposed
tied to a
the 2 and 1.
telemetrics. They shoot the fiber back down from the 3rd floor of a building all made out of marble down to the basement control room that hooks up to a Ross Carbonite switcher. And there, the director and the producer and the camera operator are all in sync. Our camera operator operates so well that at times it looks like these 2 council members are sitting on a couch just having a casual conversation. And all of a sudden, they pull out, they do a wide shot of the dais, and you notice that these two council people are 6 to 8 feet apart. It's amazing what they can do down there. It looks like a fully professional news program. We're also able to shoot each council member individually. We can shoot the speakers, and we do wide shots of the audience, which is quite interesting because, as you all know, in council, you have some very interesting characters who sit in the audience. Yeah, the guy in the orange there, I don't know what he was chewing, but he chewed a lot that day. Whoops. Come on. Play. Thank you. Art scene. NATOA winner, Emmy nominated, Tilly winner. In the opening segment, 3 Panasonic 300 cameras were used in our studio and then edited together. Our editors use Final Cut Pro templates to tie the show's themes together. The comic template, which is the only time we've ever used it, for Comic-Con, and the editor actually created his own version of it also. And then we use ripple effects for Wash to Shore. And then you'll see the producers and editors put their spin on this show. In the next case, George Lucas came to town, and in a far, far away art museum right next door. Some of the segments we use a combination of DSLRs, traditional video, camcorders, gyros, Osmos, and then for budget-saving measures, we also use outside video, local, national, hint, hint, to tie relative to the show.
Costumes that we're starting with, Obi-Wan Kenobi from the original Star Wars movie 1977, kind of ragged, and then Queen Amidala from the prequels, and that's played by Natalie Portman.
A lot of the other neighborhoods, they got their dumpsters taken away, but it was in the alleys. For these housing projects, they put them right here on the streets. We wanted to decorate them a little bit for this community, give them ownership of their own space.
Denver Loft Sessions, our primary music show, is shot in our studio on a 16 by 18 set, and that's making it sound really big, but it's not. There are 6 cameras, but only 3 camera operators. One camera, a Panasonic 255, is mounted in the lighting grid. We have 1 GoPro mounted. If you can find it, I'll give you a prize. There's 2 Panasonic handhelds. There's a small jib and a DSLR. Our audio designer, yeah, we have an Emmy Award-winning audio designer, mixes the performance live, applying analog audio sweetening for each song. This is so it doesn't sound like TV. We also use LED lights, which change color, intensity, an ETC lighting board, and we use a hazing machine. Our word of advice and tip to you all, if you use a hazing machine, make sure every single alarm is turned off. Otherwise, rolling hot stars show up. We shoot the musicians performing first, followed by the interview sessions, and then our famous question is, who plays the movie in your life? And then we close with a DJ-like experience introducing the song.
Oh, I stole all his licks. Wait, that's...
It's kind of a toss-up between Marilyn Monroe and Kate Winslet.
I wrote Shake It for a previous band originally, and it was almost like a joke song. We were playing some James Brown songs that were 1 chord, maybe with a little riff in it. I said, I could write a 1 chord song, and so later on I added 2 chords, so now it's a 2 chord song.
Shake that butt, funk it up, shake that thing, funky stuff, get your groove on.
Time to slow it down. This NATOA award-winning documentary was the request of our mayor's office. We used Panasonic's 255s and 300s, DSLRs, Sony and other models, because we allowed our crew to bring their own, GoPros, a studio green screen, a Steadicam, and stock footage, and listen for the natural sound throughout these pieces. The Final Cut Pro was also used again to create the graphics for the charts, And we try to use as much as possible the same production ops throughout to have the young people feel comfortable with us being there. You'll see, you'll hear, and you're going to feel the emotion. Sit back and watch. This is Courage to Care.
Denver is attracting more and more new businesses and new residents every day, but still struggling to solve the same challenges facing many major metropolitan areas in the United States. Some of this can be attributed to gentrification, displacement, and hopelessness.
In 1985, gangs were introduced to Denver, Colorado. And we saw Denver, as well as other cities around the country, but Denver in particular because the gangs migrated east out of LA.
There is a 17 to 35% gap between graduation rates for Black, Latino, and Native American males in Denver versus their Asian or white cohorts. For many male students of color, barriers to successfully completing high school started before they were even born. Organizations like GRASP are still changing the lives of young men and increasingly young women by helping them to talk about and process their lives.
My friend, he don't seem to want to do what he should do. And he's just not being a good friend at all. And I don't know how to get through to him or whatever, but I don't know, it's kind of frustrating me because I'm just watching him just self-destruct.
Baggage was today, actually, because last year, December 10th, 2014, I lost 3 of my closest friends. They were murdered. You know, I haven't been myself today. You know, one of my friends, we were just hanging out all day. You know, this morning, like at 2 o'clock, I was with some of my friends, and it's just been a hard day.
Their deaths were that much harder because Kane's mother had a close relationship with the killer.
She knows her ex-boyfriend was the one that committed the murders. So she was like sticking up for the boyfriend and telling him, you know, she didn't care that those boys had gotten killed.
I got really angry and started hitting some walls, and my hand hurt really bad, so we went to the hospital, and the nurse said she wanted to bring somebody in, so I said okay to talk to me, and it was Johnny. Johnny came in and talked to me, and I went to GRASP ever since.
Now it's time for
the next
all
show
of
I'm
us
highlighting is D-Town. It has won numerous Natora Awards, Emmys, and Tellys. We make it interesting by adding a quick trivia questions throughout the program. And those are 2 examples that you're going to see. It is a simple 2-camera shoot configuration with wireless mics. Yep, we use the same audio designer. Sennheiser wireless mics synced via Wi-Fi instead of dialing a channel. They work great and they're easy to use. And then those editors take over to make recycling look interesting.
It's what we call an aseptic package, and we do accept those for recycling.
This bubble wrap, yes?
I'm gonna say no. It's not a rigid plastic.
Rico told me about what to expect, how all the aluminum, paper, and other recyclable materials start out all together, but get sorted using high-tech machines.
No cameras were broken. Get ready for it. Here comes the DJ move. To wrap up, I want to show you our DMS editor's talent. They aged the film using pre-built Final Cut Pro effects, tied the music and voiceover to the piece, using shallow depth of field, the dancer's speed, using over and under cranking for slow-mo and fast time-lapse.
Bringing movement, joy, and life to where there was none. Next stage now is enlightening, engaging, invigorating the space. It's an ongoing series of free or low-cost events bringing people to the space.
Gyro stabilization motion shots are all in demand by our clients. And Julie, Bill's asking for a drone. Thank you.
Wow. I told you it would say wow. And right next we've got Nick Gibson. He's from Garland, Texas, and I guarantee you're going to say wow after this stuff. So go ahead, Nick.
Are you guys cool if I sit down or you want me to stand up? Okay, thank you. So I don't know if I can wow you like that. That was an awesome presentation. But for me, if we want to, let's just start like playing a video and then we'll talk about it afterwards. So if we can just go ahead and play that first video. This one actually won in the NATOA documentary category last year. And
this is a rough
good. Closer.
There, all right. This looks good. A little tucked away thing here. It's like I got horrible vision, you know, but I can see a garage sale sign 1,000 yards off. Whoopee. I've always collected, but I didn't know I was collecting. I just like stuff, and I don't know, I had a lot of it. When I started the shop, I really didn't need inventory. I just emptied the garage. And, you know, since I was a kid, my mom got me into this, and my grandmother, going to garage sales and estate sales and all that kind of stuff, and it just kind of kept going. My name is Billy Miller, and I'm a junker. Wanted to tie in with the train across the street, and just did a lot of Google searches for train names, train slang, and Tin Lizard popped out. And Tin Lizard is what they used to call a streamline train back in the 20s and 30s. And you know, it worked. The stuff that I have in here, it's me in a nutshell. It's eclectic. It's a little bit of everything for everybody. It's weird. And like I tell the customers, if it's weird and we don't know what it is, we'll take two. So as long as it's not the ordinary, I don't like the ordinary. If it speaks to me, I grab it. I'm just a junker, and you know, buy it, sell it, trade it. And I do love all this stuff. Because every time I leave at the end of the night, thank you guys. You know, you guys, it's just like plants. You got to talk to them. They got to be happy, and that's why I leave the music on. You know, it's just it speaks to me. Yeah, this guy today, as a matter of fact, he said, "You got a?" I said, "Problem? No, you have a really nice store." Because I was going to say, yeah, I do have a problem. I do like stuff, and that's what the girlfriend says. I can't tell you how many times that somebody said they had the exact same thing when they were a kid, and it was gone, lost, trashed, whatever, and there it is right there in their hands again, and you know, they feel young again. They laugh, and you know, that's what we're going for. What I love about the Tin Lizard is no day is ever the same. I always say, you never know who's going to walk through that door, and this guy walks through the door and says, "Can you come out to the car? I got a leg in my trunk." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take a look at that." I'm in.
Appreciate it. Yeah, so who wouldn't want to look at a leg in a trunk, right? So you can go to that next slide. I don't know, am I supposed to be doing that? There you go. Interesting character. I definitely can say Billy was an interesting character, right? So I submitted this video to one of our local competitions last year, and I remember like looking at some of the feedback, which is a terrible idea. Don't look at the feedback. But one of the judges says, I don't understand what the tie is to the city. Like, how does this relate to the city? And so I punched my screen, and then I composed myself. But we get so caught up into thinking that everything has to be directly tied to the city. You know, like we're gonna shoot a Labor Day parade or a groundbreaking, which those are important things to do, definitely. But think outside the box, because every city has just unique people, characters, places, just waiting to be exposed. And the citizens love this stuff. I created this series, I guess about a year ago, and the whole object is to find unique, interesting things about our city that even our residents don't know about. And the feedback has been amazing. And, you know, there is a lot of production involved with this. You know, you gotta track down something interesting. You gotta, you know, produce it, but it's worth it, I really feel like. And it's shining a light on something unique within your city. We can go to the next slide. Oh, but, you know, go back one, I'm sorry. So we're gonna play a little game. If anyone can guess what movie all these little pictures are from. Does anybody know what movie this is from? There you go, there you go. You can't answer anymore. All right, yeah, all right. Smooth moves. So one thing that I really like to do is mix up my shots. You know, for interviews, most often it's gonna be locked on a tripod, but I'll do handheld, and also, if I have time, put the camera on a stabilizer. I know other people have talked about stabilizers today. Does anybody shoot on stabilizer of some sort? Okay, look around the one who didn't raise their hand and punch them in the arm, because they are inexpensive now. You can get small ones to the bigger ones, but you should have it in your toolbox. It instantly makes your footage look professional beyond belief, and just adds something to, and you don't want to use it all the time, but it just really adds something to your footage. So we have a stabilizer. We also have a slider that we use. But if you don't have one, you can still get away with putting some movement into your shots. So if you find yourself maybe doing a pan, right? Take the camera off the tripod and maybe hold it and physically move the camera with your body. It just adds more, you know, I can't even explain it. It just adds something to your piece, especially if you have the foreground in. If you come off the foreground and reveal what it is you're showing, it's just a really interesting shot. So try that out. Then we can go to the next. Last year for Profile of the City. There's a place called home, so unique most don't even know, where the sun and trees mingle as one, where the good Lord and Mother Nature gifted us as if their only son, in a big body of water just for having fun, disguised as a big city with trendy restaurants and hipster breweries, but truly is quaint and small town living, where the neighborhoods vary from modern to craftsman, but all give off that hometown atmosphere. A place where the artsy go for shows, or just the good old boys picking their soul, where the jobs are plenty, from industrial to niche, and the schools nurture our young till they're grown up and ready, and just maybe one day start repaying. And so you might be asking yourself, where is such a place, so that I may know? It's Garland, my friends, and this is home. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, so sound design, right? Yes. We all need more cowbell, right? So normally when you think of sound design, I think they beat it into our head, Nat sounds, and you're like, yes, we get it, Nat sounds. But do you ever go deeper? And not every video is going to call for it. Like if you're doing the Labor Day parade or the groundbreaking, it's not gonna call for it. But it might not be hard to realize all the sound design that went into that video, but there's a ton of stuff, like maybe it's a drone. You're not capturing any audio, but you're seeing water. So I'm putting in sounds of water. You're putting in whooshes on pans. I mean, there's so much that you can do in sound design that if you're not even getting close into this, you're really missing out. It adds so much to your production value that a lot of times you realize bad audio, right? So if you hear wind hitting a mic, it just completely takes you out of the scene. But what you don't realize is you have really good audio, it puts you into the scene. A lot of times, if I have a slow day, I'll start my day off with watching, you guys ever watch Vimeo videos? Yeah, so I will literally start my day with watching like one short doc on Vimeo, like a 3 to 5 minute video, and just inspire me for the day. So I encourage you to go on Vimeo and just look at other people's work. And that's really how you learn, I've learned as well, is just seeing other people's work and trying to emulate what they're doing. And sound design is a big part of that. Next one. So for me, so that video actually, the city manager was putting together an event for, it's a realtors event. So what they're trying to do was basically create hype for realtors to start showing homes in the Garland area. And what he wanted was a piece that really gave a feel for our city. We're just north of Dallas. It's like over 200,000 people, but it has that small town feel. So that's what I really went for with that video. And honestly, I picked the music before I shot a single thing. And these are some of the sites that I'll use. We use Audio Network for our music licensing. It's really great because say you find one piece of music, it will give you a 3-minute version, a 30-second version, a 10-second version. And so you can pick, and it'll have one with vocals, one without vocals. And it's just super helpful to go in and really capture the mood that you're wanting your video to take. And then as far as like sound effects go, like freesound.org and even YouTube, those are both free. And for all your whooshes and your just sounds of water, just put that in and you'll be surprised how much it adds to your video. And we can go on to the next one.
901 West Kingsley Road.
1013, I received. And what do we have over here?
21, 22, 23. Oh, hello, officer.
So what do you think you're doing here?
Just setting up for tonight's festivities. I got bottle rockets locked and loaded, got a tasty brews in the cooler. Tonight is gonna be lit. Do you want a sparkler?
Are you aware that it's strictly prohibited to have fireworks and alcohol at a city park?
Say what?
Don't say what. Know the law. Alcohol and fireworks are strictly prohibited in all city parks. Happy holidays and stay safe.
Happy New Year!
Hey! Get over here! I told you fireworks are prohibited! Get over here! Get over here! Give me those fireworks!
So sometimes you just got to go stupid, right? So Parks came to us and they wanted a video because for the New Year's Eve, where it's an issue with our parks, people shooting fireworks and bringing alcohol, and they just wanted a real straight-laced video using stock footage, and I was like, that is so lame, you know? It's like, we have a real opportunity to do something fun, and honestly, if you can do that, it's gonna be way more easy than doing something like that, but it's gonna have no value to the residents looking at it. It's just they're gonna glance over and be done. Something like that, they're gonna remember it, you know? It's kind of taking a negative message and putting a funny twist to it, so they don't, I guess, get so pissed off at us, right? And we can go to the last video here.
can't barricade my independence. It's the 4th of July. Ooh. 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 Hold. Hold. I can smell the freedom. And freedom is sweet. Ha ha. Now!
Closed means closed. Park closed. The park is closed. I believe the sign reads, park closed.
Oh, you're absolutely right, officer. I'll be leaving now.
Windsurf Bay Park will be closed this 4th of July, so please make other arrangements to celebrate. Remember, stay safe and have a happy 4th. Who's in the truck?
What? Who needs a park? I got a fire truck. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Woo!
So sometimes you need a sequel, right? So that character just took off in that last video, and again, we had a really negative message. They were gonna close that park for 4th of July, which is our most popular park. It's right on the water, and the problem is that it gets so many people, it's a hazard. Police can't get in, ambulance can't get in, and so they're gonna close it down. And so rather than just putting up some infographic of park closed that everyone's just gonna get pissed off, we thought we were gonna bring this crazy character back. And of course, people were pissed off still, but they laughed at it as well. So sometimes you find something hilarious and funny, just keep going with it. So that's all for me. Appreciate it.
All right, anybody saying wow yet? You liking it? More video? All right, we got Karen from DC next, and Karen, take it away.
If you don't mind, I'll sit here as well. I may appear taller. Oh, talk about a tough act to follow. Well, anyway, I'm Karen from the Office of Cable Television, Film, Music, and Entertainment. And as the name denotes, we do cable television as well as promote the film, music, and entertainment industry in Washington, D.C. So this first clip we're going to show, we wanted to create a vehicle that we could create film, music, and entertainment in the city and let people know what was going on, the local talent that we have in the city, and just kind of give an overview of the entertainment industry. So we can roll the clip.
Welcome to the 202. I'm Furman Patterson, here with my very lovely co-host, Michelle Wright.
Hey, Furman.
How you doing?
I am great.
Great.
And before we chat about what's in the 202, let's give another shout out to the amazing DJ Dirty Rico, representing the DMV's talent pool of the hottest DJs. Rico.
And so, since we're talking about music today, we have a music guest, I want to give a shout out to the people that are doing a lot for DC music.
Okay.
First of all, there's an online blog called DC Music Download.
DC Music Download. Okay.
I think the publisher is Stephanie Williams.
Okay.
And what they do is they try to promote local artists. They do articles, they do shout outs about upcoming concerts and things like that.
Yeah.
But that's what DC needs, because it's incredible talent, but it needs to be promoted in a way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And are they loosely affiliated with SiriusXM Radio? Because I do some things with them sometimes.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Tell us a little about it.
Well, you know, I do a lot of radio, some syndicated shows, voiceovers, and features, and on the programming end, and I also host a weekend show on SiriusXM's Heart and Soul on Channel 48.
So when the music folks come into DC, national, international artists, they end up talking to you sometimes,
yeah,
right?
they end up talking to me. In fact, it seems like at least a couple of times a month, I'm going to interview an artist, and we have a performance space over there as well. So we'll do some of the same thing.
I've seen that performance space.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, let's give a shout out to this network, because we have a show on DCN called The Sound. It's hosted by Britt Waters, and that show is focused on promoting local entrepreneurial artists. It could be anywhere from soul, R&B, rock, There have been classical music on there. It's
and
been
Latin,
terrific.
Cuban,
Latin,
and all kinds of flavors.
Yeah, and it's all folks from the DMV, which is amazing because DC has so much talent, but that show really promotes them, gives them a chance to perform here in the studio. It's amazing, but that's all under the umbrella of the Office of Cable Television, Film, Music,
that's like neighbor flavor.
That's a good term. That's a really good
like
term.
Like neighbor flavor.
Yep. Yeah. And that's not the only music. There is a show here also called Display that's hosted by Dion Dove. And what they do is they air videos from independent artists in the area. They're music videos.
Oh.
So they're not only getting to perform on the sound, they're also getting to show their product on the TV.
Because they need an outlet, you know?
Yes.
There's so few channels now that are dedicated to videos or that even give videos anytime.
There you
and
go.
artists are still making them.
There
you know,
you
it's
go.
still a creative expression, so I really appreciate that.
When we come back here and take a break, we're gonna go on stage for a performance from this man, DC's own Grammy-nominated singer, songwriter, Raheem DeVaughn.
So you know not to move. You stay right with us, because we got you. The 202 coming back after this.
So this is going to dissolve to black, but it's going to come right back up with a part of the performance that the guest person did toward the end of the show.
202. It's the 202. It's the 202. It's the 202. Yo, Michelle, yo, Michelle.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, performing on the soundstage, Mr. Raheem DeVaughn.
Decade of a Love King. Can we take y'all down memory lane tonight? I said, can we take y'all down memory lane tonight? Hey, oh yeah, yeah. We gotta acknowledge the women, you know what I'm talking about? I appreciate your style. And I know how much it takes to carry and birth a child. And the way you play dumb, even when we're living real foul. See, even as a single parent mama, you still held me down somehow. You made the men's meet somehow. Man, ain't nothing like a woman, 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 strong woman, woman, grown woman.
So that's the end. So that program we entered last year in NATOA, and it won for Interview Talk Show. But I also want to point out, as you saw, we had a DJ in the show, so we have a guest DJ for every episode, so we can promote that industry. We also, the clothing that's worn by the hosts are designed and created by local fashion designers, although I did not pick that blouse that the young lady had. And the theme song was produced by a local artist. I don't know how many of you all are familiar with like the official music of DC, which is go-go. And so we got a go-go band to create the song, the 202, and the 202, of course, is our area code in the city. So our next clip that we're gonna look at is from our education channel. And we also do a lot with media literacy and trying to get young people involved. And we had done a lot of work with this school, the Richard Wright Public Charter School, and they're a media journalism school. And they went to a behind-the-scenes tour. Jeopardy came to town and was filming Teen Jeopardy at our Constitution Hall. So we sent a videographer and a producer out that day, and this is what they captured.
Watch an episode of the television game show Jeopardy, and you're bound to learn a few new things. For a group of students from DC's Richard Wright Public Charter School, attending a taping of the show's teen tournament became an unforgettable, hands-on learning opportunity.
Copy that. And you'll be entering through the D Street entrance?
Yeah, through the handicap entrance.
Thank you.
My name's June Curtis, and I'm the associate producer of Jeopardy, and I just want to welcome all of you here. Okay, got this. Matt.
I've been to a movie premiere, but not a show production, so it's kind of different.
Students at Richard Wright study broadcast media in class every day. This chance to speak to the professionals doing the jobs they're interested in pursuing had them scribbling down notes and eagerly asking questions.
So how do you pick the contestants for Teen Jeopardy?
How you choose the contestants?
Yes.
So all the contestants will first take an online test.
Their experience behind the game show broadcast included lighting the stage, setting up the cameras, and dialing in the audio.
People of all walks of life. And the idea is to make it sound like the television show that you're watching at home.
I enjoyed that we had more of a tool to go around, talk to the people who work here, learn how everything works.
I didn't know that it was that many lights in here, and then it took them 5 days to set them up. And it's like, seeing how high this place is, it must have been pretty scary just to go up there.
They even learned how contestant questions pop up on that iconic blue board.
She has this computer monitor in front of her with the stylus, and when they say, I'll take history for 200, she taps the computer screen, and then on stage, the question blows out.
By the end of the experience, students are beginning to see the teamwork and skill that goes into bringing the show to life.
I didn't know there was so much put into the production of Jeopardy, like the directors, the sound trucks, all the audio equipment, all the lighting. It was just a great learning experience.
That experience is leaving an impact as students come face to face with the careers they aspire to.
And I'm like behind the scenes, helping with the sound and piecing together the video. The experience for me has just been great, and I would like to see myself going forward with it.
I can see myself working in a giant studio like this, doing sound.
And whether they end up in the industry or not, this is no doubt an experience to remember.
I've never been on a Jeopardy stage before, so it was real nice to be on there to see how they do Jeopardy. That had to be the most memorable thing for me.
Very memorable. I have seen Jeopardy production, so that's a big deal.
So not only were the kids excited about going to see Jeopardy, but our crew was equally fascinated, and they came back and told everybody, and we went back again another day and did another behind-the-scenes piece. So in addition to our entertainment work, I work with kids. Of course, we also have our government purview to tend to, and one of our biggest events every year is the Mayor's State of the District Address. And for that production, we pretty much track all of the activities and initiatives throughout the year, because we're also tasked with putting together a setup video before the mayor does her address. And we entered this in the public affairs category last year in the TOA and received an award.
It was a very important year for the city. We actually spent over $500 million with small businesses.
They are definitely investing in a lot of the small businesses, making it easier for folks to move into these larger developments that have been built up over the last 2 years.
This mayor has made the strongest possible commitment to ensuring that all DC residents can be successful and benefit from the prosperity that is expanding in our city.
I would like to thank Mayor Bowser for everything she has done.
We are good for business.
I was especially interested in hearing about the LEAP program and what it's done for some of our residents.
My 3 goals are affordable housing, tax revenue, and jobs, and I think that we've made tremendous progress over the past year.
She's helping me out with a job, she helped me out with this, and I ain't never had my own apartment before.
We are housing over 60 individuals and 60 veterans specifically who are able to stay in D.C. Who serve their country.
Welcome to my home.
And now, it is my honor to introduce
the mayor of my hometown, the greatest city in the world, and the soon-to-be 51st state. Governor, excuse me, Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Well, hello, Washington, D.C. Thank you, everybody. It is so great to be here at the Theater of the Arts at the University of the District of Columbia. And isn't Jalea fantastic? Give Jalea a big round of applause. I want to thank her for that wonderful introduction, but I have to correct her on one thing. She's on this big stage because of her own hard work, her own perseverance, and her own high expectations for herself. I want to thank Jalea, the board of directors, and the UDC president, Ronald Mason, for hosting us here tonight and for his tremendous leadership of our great university. Give him a big round of applause.
So that's pretty much a sampling of some of the things that we do. That sign language interpreter was a last-minute addition, and we were like, oh, wow, you know, we're doing closed captioning. Why do we need to have a sign language interpreter? But also learned that there's a difference, and that sign language interpreters do a more universal language. So I learned something that day as well.
Well, thank you. All so far have been just excellent. And this next guy, Pedro Hernandez, I happened to see as he was loading up his presentation, and I was like, what? Do you do this? Do you work for Disney or something? You're going to be blown away. Pedro, take it away.
So a little bit about what I do. I do motion design, and basically what motion design is the mergement of cinematography with graphic design. And I want to show a little bit of the process, but first let's play my first video, and then I'll talk about it afterwards.
Back to the beginning, please. Yeah.
Are you looking for a new career opportunity? Consider the City of Garland. With more than 700 different roles from internships to professional careers and positions in every discipline from animal services to water utilities, we might just have something for you. Garland, Texas is located in the 4th largest region in the nation. The Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex has something for everyone. Professional sports, a vibrant cultural arts and entertainment scene, incredible shopping, and great restaurants when you need to take a break from it all. You can feel secure knowing that Garland is recognized as one of the safest cities in the U.S. We're also a diverse city that's ranked as the 8th best for raising a family based on amenities like schools and overall affordability. Here in Garland, you won't have to go far to enjoy the great outdoors. We have 40 parks, the state's largest municipal golf course, and Lake Ray Hubbard for fun on and off the water. With the City of Garland, you'll receive competitive pay and a great benefits package. Our rewards and recognition program promotes a culture of appreciation and advancement. Does all of this sound good to you? Take a look to see what's available right now. You'll be joining an organization that offers professional development, career growth, and a proven commitment to reward exceptional work. What are you waiting for? Visit careers.garlandtx.gov for a complete list of available positions and apply online to join our Garland family today.
Thank you. So, a little bit about the process of how I create my motion design pieces. Yes, we do a lot of meetings, and after that we come up with the script For this one, we had a lot of points that our HR department wanted to make. So I tried as much to break it down into scenes and shots so that I could tell it as fast as possible, because we wanted our audience to keep on seeing it, not click away or nothing like that. So let's go ahead to the next slide. And to do this, I usually the storyboard process is mostly for me to get my ideas on paper and start telling a story out of it. But it also helps the client understand where the video is going to and what all it's going to say. The images that y'all see on the right, those are style sheets, and basically what those do is show the style of the video, and so the client can approve them and we can move forward with the video. So for this next video that I'm gonna talk about, I wanna talk a little bit about style and how I break down my characters. And so let's go ahead and play it, please.
I've gotta tell you that it's not easy getting by these days. Follow me for the next few minutes and I'll tell you. Hello? Hey, buddy, not the flea bag. I'm down here. Freddy the Frog's my name. Let me tell you why life's so tough for frogs like me, as well as other critters in the water. And I'll share with you some things you can do to help keep the environment healthy and happy for everyone. We're sensitive to even the smallest changes in habitat. That's why some scientists call frogs a bioindicator, meaning that by watching us, they can tell how clean and safe the environment is. It's bad. In many places, we're in trouble. The frog population is decreasing, and many are born with deformities. Researchers believe it's because of unwelcome changes in our habitat. It's starting to rain. I usually love the water, but not during and after a storm. There are things that some humans do to our waterways that make me hopping mad. Every time it rains, we have to take cover. Water flowing into our lakes, rivers, and streams is loaded with pollution. Humans call it stormwater runoff. I call it a mess. And it's one of the main sources of water pollution these days. So I'm guessing that about now, you're asking yourself, what is stormwater, aren't you? I thought so. Often, when it rains, there's too much water to just soak into the ground. In the neighborhood, it can mean that extra water flowing from our yards and parks to nearby lakes, creeks, or rivers. In the city, there's just too much pavement, and the rain flows down sidewalks, streets, and parking lots. All of this extra water has to be moved along by specially built stormwater drains. And remember, all of the water that flows through it ends up where I live. And believe me, it can be gross. It's not just natural rainwater. Stormwater runoff can be filled with all sorts of nasty things. Do you think our streets are clean? When water flows down the street, it collects oil, gas, and trash. What about our yards? Are they clean? Does your family use pesticides, herbicides, and fertilizers? If so, when it rains or when you water your yard, these chemicals flow with the water down the street to a storm drain. Even dirt, leaves, and lawn clippings that flow into the storm drain can make our life miserable. When they decompose in water, they use up valuable oxygen that fish need to survive. And of course, there's the dog dew too. It can get into storm drains as well. How would you like to take a bath with dog poop? I do not.
So for this one, I wanted a style more directed to kids because it's our stormwater department was going to take it to schools and present it to elementary kids. So the style that I decided to go with was more of a coloring book style to be more appealing to them. How I break my characters, and it does look like craziness, but it's worth it at the end, trust me. the hands, as many hands and mouths as I have at the end, makes it a lot more smoother of an animation. So yeah, it helps me a lot. And I usually use Photoshop, but for this one I did a combination of Photoshop and Illustrator. The two characters that y'all see at the right-hand corner or side, those were actually downloaded from Getty Images, and I mean, you do have to play with them a little bit afterward to create more mouths and hand shapes, and also breaking them down into layers so that after that you can rig them in After Effects. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide, please. In this slide, I use DUIK, which is a free plugin that you can buy, that you can get for After Effects, and that really makes it pretty easy to rig your characters. All the little controls that you see on the frog, those you do transformations with those, which is rotation and movements, and there's some more controls on the right, and those are for elements like the eyes, the mouth, and changing the hands. So yeah, this is how I break down my character. Let's go ahead into the next video.
You may have heard a lot about fair housing, but what does that really mean? Garland's Fair Housing Services is one of only 5 fair housing assistance programs in the state of Texas. Their mission: to educate residents about fair housing laws and to eliminate housing discrimination in the city of Garland. The Fair Housing Act became federal law in 1968. It includes 7 protected classes nationwide. There's a good chance you've already heard of them: race, color, national origin, religion, sex, disability, and familial status. In 1997, the City of Garland enacted its own fair housing ordinance that includes protection against age discrimination. In regards to persons with physical or mental disabilities, property owners must provide reasonable accommodations to afford equal opportunity for a disabled person to use and enjoy a dwelling. For example, providing handicap parking or allowing an assistance animal even if pets are normally not allowed on the property. Familial status includes households with at least one child under 18 years of age. It also includes expecting mothers and those in the adoption process. Here are more examples of protections under the Fair Housing Law. You have the right to negotiate whether you're renting or buying. You have the right to receive consistent terms or conditions for the sale or rental of a dwelling. You have the right to receive a mortgage loan based on non-discriminatory criteria. You have the right to request reasonable modifications to ensure your disability-related need is met. It is illegal to threaten, coerce, intimidate, or interfere with anyone exercising a fair housing right or assisting others who exercise that right. In addition to complaint investigation, conciliation, and enforcement, Garland Fair Housing Services offers workshops such as landlord and tenants' rights and responsibilities, first-time home buyers, and financial literacy. If you believe you have experienced unfair treatment when either reviewing, renting, or purchasing a home, the City of Garland has trained staff to assist you. Contact Fair Housing Services at 972-205-3300. For more information about your housing rights, go to garlandtx.gov.
So for this one, our fair housing department had a pretty big problem. They had I think it was 30-minute presentation. They wanted to merge it down to at least 15, I think they said. And I'm like, well, I think we should make a explainer video, and that'll get it down to like 3 or 4 minutes. And actually I got it down to less than 3. And, but with kind of help me out whenever I'm designing and putting stuff on my compositions. So of course, contrast, It is not misspelled, but the ST is under the square. But I usually use contrast, alignment, and repetition, and proximity. And so basically these principles help me help the composition and the viewer just focus on the element that we're trying to show the fastest. So yeah, let's go ahead and check out our next video.
Save money on your electric bills by being energy efficient. Garland Power and Light has some tips. Change your air filters every month to keep your system running efficiently. Use Windows solar screens to block out heat from the sun. And remember to turn off the lights when leaving a room. Visit gpltexas.org for more energy conservation tips and resources. GP&L, always there when you need us.
So for this one, I wanted to touch a little bit about on the 3D applications I use. I use Cinema 4D and Element 3D. Cinema 4D is integrated into After Effects, so that's really easy. You just have to open a new project and scroll down to create another Cinema 4D file, and it'll bring it up. You have to fill up some options, but that will be the only time you do it. I also use Element 3D, and that's actually a lot easier to use, but I get more liberty to do whatever I want in Cinema 4D. That's why I use it more. And let's go to the next slide, please. And these are some of the links I have where I get like resources and inspiration: YouTube, Vimeo. For learning resources, I use Lynda, and if you really want to get into motion design, School of Motion is really, really good. MoGraph Mentor is also really good. And templates, Video Hive and Rocket Stock, they have pretty nice templates. And also motion, online motion designers. You can find some in Fiverr or Upwork. And these designers will get you a project, but they're not going to focus a lot on storytelling, so just make sure to ask them for that. Let's go ahead to the next one. And these are some links where I get my my plugins for After Effects. DUIK is at rainboxprod.coop. And Element 3D is, you can find it at videocopilot.net, and of course, Cinema 4D at maxon.net. And that's it. Thank you.
So, are you going to stay in community TV, or are you going to go to Disney, or? That was great. We're going to open it up for some questions. We got about 10 minutes or so for questions. I'm sure there's quite a few. So please come up to the microphone so the online viewers can see. I will actually bring the microphone to you. How's that? So I'm going to run around with the mic. Okay, your question.
Hi, I'm wondering how many FTEs Garland has. How big is your staff?
So we actually have a really awesome setup. There's actually 3 of us. Our manager, he is ex-news guy, and he handles most of the events. I do more of the short docs, PSAs, more specialty type pieces, and then Pedro is our motions designer. So it's really a good trifecta. We are all specialized in our stuff, and just it works really well.
Yes, yes it does.
I'm just going to do a quick follow-up. So can you, everyone else, describe how big their teams are and how many people you have on?
City of Denver, we just merged with Marketing and Media Services on January 1st. So our total FTEs are about 24 right now, with 2 more positions coming on board, like a creative service manager was just hired. We just hired a new full-time producer, and we have a couple of webmasters in the group that have animation background, and along with that, we have at least 36 on-calls.
So our programming department consists of about 23 FTEs. We have a staff of videographers, editors, audiovisual production specialists, producers, and a graphic artist, just one, and who stays busy. And we use a gaggle of freelance people, you know, whenever we have a large event that we have to do, and use everybody at one time.
It's a great use of on-camera talent and voiceover on all the pieces. Can you talk a little bit about where each of you gets those? Is it city staff? Is it freelance?
For us, we try to keep it as with city staff, but if we can't, we usually go and look for some talent online. So yeah.
We use city staff also. Most of our voiceovers are done by our in-house personnel, but we do have another company that offers us free voicemail. For what, $10 a show, Julie? Yeah.
So yeah, we use our city staff as well, and since we do a lot of work with the music community and the entertainment community, oftentimes a lot of people want to volunteer with us or just work with us to do different things so they can have something for their reel, and we generally help them out with that by giving them an opportunity and something that they can build their resume with. And oftentimes that generally works out into us hiring them and adding them to our freelance pool.
Any other questions here? Anybody? Okay.
Thanks. So when you use humor in Garland, I know it's kind of a risk. How do you get people on board? Or like those actors were great, or I don't know if they're city employees. Tell me about the talent that you used, and how do you get people to take the risk?
Yeah, believe it or not, that guy, he works in our theater department, so he's free, and he's awesome. But yeah, it is a risk, and what has to happen really is you get them to buy off on one, and then if it goes well, then they start trusting you more and more. So it's really just a judgment on how far you can push it. So, yeah, the firefighters are real. Yeah, we don't ever hire any sort of actors or anything for our stuff. And that's the other thing is, you know, we have over 2,000 employees in our city. So you have talent in there. You just got to find them. And you'll know real fast if you have talent or not. Real fast.
And how many takes did it take for that cop to get it right? Or was he just that natural?
Well, what's funny is on that last video when he's like, park closed, and he keeps going down the list. Well, I had like it broken down where he could say either one. Well, he just kept reading all of them. And I was like, that's actually hilarious. So.
Any other questions? Okay, over here.
Pedro, my question is just about the time frame. How long, say that human resources video, how long did that take you to put together? Very impressive, by the way.
That one, a total of, I would say, 2.5 weeks. For the animation, now for the script, I mean, I would say about between scheduling meetings, I would say about two to three more, because just getting people together and stuff like that and writing it, so yeah. Thank you.
And just to follow up to that question, with your workflow, is that with that 2 to 3 weeks, is that solo on that project only, or are you working on multiple projects at the same time?
Oh, well, working with the city, you have so many projects working at the same time. So it would really like merge down the time to like just on animation. I don't know, maybe bring it down to a week. Yeah. That last piece, the 3D one that I did for our electrical company that we have, that one took around a week, just because I had to like model all this stuff and find a really good shader or a way to shade all this stuff in a proper way. So yeah.
And that's one thing that we have told our departments is we can do some really awesome stuff, but if you come to us on Tuesday and want something by Friday, it's not gonna happen, you know? So luckily, I'm going on 5 years, he's going on 3 years. We've been there long enough that they know what we can do, and they know that it's gonna take time to do something really professional. I mean, we can turn out crap. That's no problem. But we really want to get away from that and do some really awesome stuff. And it takes time.
Yeah, and you really have to take in consideration the time that the video is going to live. So, I mean, we can use, I don't know, 10 years from now, hopefully not. Hopefully they do renew it quicker, but they might be using it still. So, I mean, it's time that's worth putting into your project. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I can tell you this group put a lot of time into this presentation, so let's give them all one heck of a round of applause. Great job. Great job. Thank you, everyone.